talk about this new anime that Netflix just recently put out, Super Crooks. Now, this, in my opinion, had no promotion at all. I literally found out about this is literally from like TikTok. Like, I didn't see this nowhere else, no promotion, nothing. I didn't see Netflix promoting this. I didn't see hella YouTubers talking about this. There was nothing. It's just interesting. Like, it just seems like Netflix really wanted to put this out just to like cash on the like superhero craze and all that, but then they kind of failed because it's like, if you were really trying to do that, you should have promoted this. I feel like this should have got promoted more. I mean, it could have been like Invincible. Like, you saw how Invincible was so crazy, it got promoted everywhere. Maybe Netflix was hoping that like how wild it was that this would get promoted everywhere and all that. But yeah, before we get into all that stuff, let's talk about what is Super Crooks. So I'm gonna get into the story, and then I might get into like other stuff about like why this was made and all this other type of stuff and how I feel about it and all that. So I guess this could be a little thing of, is Super Crooks worth watching? I'm not going to really spoiler nothing. I'm just going to say like my own opinion about a lot of different stuff in the series, because I watched it all. It has 13 episodes. I'll tell you how I feel, but let's get into the story. The story is, honestly, it has a interesting plot, like an interesting like story element that I actually fuck with, but then we'll get into it in a little bit. But let's get into the story first. So this story follows a guy named Johnny, and literally one day, like, he's in his room while his mom is literally out trying to be a hoe in the house. I just put it like that. And he just discovers that he has superpowers, and then because he sees in his room like why his light switch keeps coming on, and he discovers that, and then like the next day he tells his friend about like, yo, I got superpowers, and you find out he has electricity. So his friend tells him like, yo, you gotta like literally arrive on the scene, let everybody know you here, that you're a superhero. And after that happens, a tragic event happens. I'm not going to spoil it because it is crazy that what happens like in the first episode. Something very tragic happens, and then that event literally traumatizes him, and it makes him turn to crime, and yes, and he becomes a supervillain. So what this is mainly about is Johnny. You get to see like how Johnny was, like he is in prison for a little bit, and you see him get out of prison, and then somehow this crazy job comes up, and he has to form a rag team, a group that like gets formed together. It's like a ragtag of people, like a whole bunch of villains that nobody really messes with. They're all random, and they try and do this job that nobody wants to do, and you got to see like if they get it, along with having to deal with superheroes, because there's a lot of superheroes. There's one superhero in this show that literally has 200 different superpowers. Like, what? Like, what? They say bro has 200 different superpowers that he can have, and he has certain powers he can have on a certain day. It was wild. Like, he literally has these cards, and like he can flip through them like each day, like which one he's gonna have, and like it's wild. But also they have to deal with supervillains, which is like the network, and like it's ran by like a whole bunch of different supervillains, but really like the top supervillain, who's like one of the like OG supervillains, runs the whole network and all that. They have to deal with that too, so they deal with them and cops and all that. But the story isn't that bad. I messed with it. It had me there for a little bit. I was like, oh, shit's pretty interesting. But how should I say this? As you go on, I would say it has an okay plot. It has an okay. The story's really okay. Like, there's certain parts I'm like, it feels like it's missing a lot. There is like a lot of parts that seems like it's missing, especially like at the beginning. It seems like we're missing a lot of like stuff in between and all that. But then you realize that the comic book, because yes, this was based on a comic book, an American comic book. Yes, it's an anime. It's literally, because I mean, you see the art style of it and the way it talks, and then you see like how it's in California and it's in the US and all, you realize like, oh yeah, it's an American comic book. The comic book came out in 2012. It's literally by like people that worked. The dude that literally made it literally worked with Marvel and other companies, and he's made like Spider-Man and other shit like that too. But also, this only had 4 issues, and I can see why this had 13 episodes the way it was. And I think I saw that the creator also like worked with them to make this series like longer, because you know, 4 issues, unless it was like 4 thick ass issues, then I don't see like how it could have got like 13 episodes and all. But it probably was 4 thick ass issues, but I haven't really like looked it up and all that. But the one thing this series did remind me of was Invincible. Like, most definitely this reminded me of Invincible. Also, this was made by Studio Bones, so hey, Bones can do good stuff sometimes, just not certain My Hero seasons, because you know they focus on the movie. But yeah, yes, this most definitely reminded me of Invincible, because like all the gore that it had, especially like when body parts were getting ripped off or people getting punched, it literally reminded me of Invincible. Like, most definitely it did. That's why I said like at the beginning, like I feel like Netflix was trying to have a cash grab when it comes to, like, all the superhero craze and all that, because I think they dead saw how good Invincible did, not Incredibles, my bad, how well Invincible did, that they're like, yo, we need to like get on this, and that's why they made this series, I think. And my opinion was, going to anime the right route? I don't know. I feel like they could have just kept this like and made, just like how Amazon made Invincible, like how they got the rights to that, and like that one was like made in-house, like with US studios and shit like that to make it. I think they should have went that route. I think that's why this wasn't really as popular as it is, and like you don't see like everybody like on the internet talking about this, because they should have done that route. Because I tell you this, the dub wasn't that good. It wasn't, because I switched between the sub and dub just to see. The sub was okay, like it was okay for what it does. Like I fucked with the sub, like it seemed like it fit the character a little better, but I was hoping the dub would have been like crazy, because like Invincible is amazing. I mean, it's literally a TV series. That's why it was already based in English. I think why this was not like as crazy as it should have been is because you have Netflix cast, like literally the Japanese cast literally got casted and they had like good cast, but then like the US cast didn't seem like they really got the best people they could have got for the job, in my opinion, because some of the voices just didn't sound like they fit. I was like, really? I was like, they should sound like a certain type of way, especially if they're super villains. I feel like they should sound a certain way, but then I was like, I mean, I didn't watch all the dubs, so yes, there could have been like a lot of people that did like good jobs in it, and like I didn't watch it all. Like I watched certain aspects of it, so yes, if somebody like in the comments actually watched the whole dub through, let me know how good it actually was. I'm not trying to say it was bad. It was just like I didn't really get that same vibe like how Invincible had. Invincible, everything was good about Invincible. I fucked with Invincible, but this show just, I'm not gonna say it was a letdown, because I mean there was like nothing for my expectations for me to be like it was a letdown. It just seemed like it's just like they just cashed on that Invincible like type of vibe because they saw how well Invincible was, but it really minded. But I do like the aspect that we literally saw, like it's a superhero show, but it's in the aspects of the villain. I actually like that a lot. Like that was very unique, especially because we don't really see that like that. Yes, there are like I think shows and other stuff we've seen where it's like with villains and all that, but it was a very interesting thing, especially like in the new age animation, people with that we get to see like the villains aspect. And like this most definitely did have like a lot of stuff with Invincible, so this will be a spoiler, big spoiler, but the villains begin they ass whooped and they be failing. And what does it happens in Invincible? That he gets his ass whooped and he be failing. That's like, there's so many like comparable things to Invincible, especially like the animation in my opinion was kind of like neck and neck. It kind of looked the same, but I mean Invincible is like different, where this is supposed to be an anime and all that. It's like their stuff is look kind of same. You could see, especially like the way the blood and the gore looked, it reminded me of Invincible, but Invincible looked like way worse than this one was. There are some crazy scenes in this. There's two brothers in this show. Just know they have some crazy scenes when it comes to body parts getting ripped apart and stuff like that. That was like, oh yeah, this does remind me of, but it was still interesting. It was interesting. Like it has its highs and lows. It probably could have been better in my opinion. It most definitely could have been better, but I still enjoyed it. I mean, there were parts I didn't enjoy because I feel like a lot of stuff was missing towards the end. Like so much was missing, it feels like. Not even like towards the end, it just seems like the last few episodes got rushed. It just seems like that because like we do get a time skip, but at the same time, like I said, there's only 4 volumes, so maybe that's why. But it does seem like we were missing like a lot of few pieces in there that I feel like needed to be filled in, that we could have been there. Maybe if this show would have had like 24 episodes, it might have hit different. But yeah, I saw no promotion for this show. I literally only saw this because of TikTok. Like literally, I didn't see nobody. I literally looked on YouTube to see like if anybody was talking about this, because I was wondering. I was like, are there any like big YouTubers talking about this? And I really didn't see any at all. Like, and I was like, damn, wow. When was this like announced? When was this promoted? All that, but yeah, if you want to just see like a different aspect of like superhero, like a superhero anime or superhero TV show in general, then watch this. I still think it is kind of weird that they went the anime route instead of just doing like a regular adult cartoon TV series, instead of just going the anime route, because I don't know if this really fit like the anime route when this was already like a comic and then you just went and made it into anime. I don't know. I feel like it could have just been that, but who knows? I don't know like exactly how they're doing, because it just is, that is always interesting. I wonder if more comic books are going to get made into like the anime route instead of like just a regular TV drama series from the US. That would be very interesting if Netflix does stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of comparables, a lot of similarities, I should say, to Invincible. Like there's a lot. If you're looking for a show that's just as bloody and gory as in Invincible, but maybe not like super bloody and gory, then this show's for you, because trust me, there's a lot of blood and gore. There's a lot of people get their ass whooped, and it's like pretty interesting. Just know the opening slaps. I do like the dancing in the opening, but like the song is pretty dope too. I fucked with it. I was like, hey. I was like, yeah, that's not me dancing, but yeah, I was like, hey, the opening's pretty decent. But yeah, Super Crooks was an okay show. Would I recommend this? Sure. Like I said, if you want to watch a different take on superhero world and all that, you want to see a different take, then yes, because you get to see it from the super villain's view, and we barely see stuff like that, kinda. We barely do, and like this is very interesting. I messed with it. Was it the greatest? It was okay. Does the story like somehow fall off? kind of like, it's just like, I just say it's a okay vibe. It's okay. I'm not gonna like hype this shit up and act like it's the best thing ever, but if you really want to watch it, because it's a okay watch. It's not gonna be like something that's gonna be mind-blowing, you're gonna lose your shit over, but it's an okay watch. I enjoyed it, but it had its highs and it most definitely had its lows, I'll say that. But it was an okay series. There was a lot of interesting things. It is like, I think the most interesting thing is like it was based on a comic book. That's the most interesting thing I find about this, is like it was based on a comic book and not a manga or a light novel. It was just like based on an American comic book, which is like very interesting. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting, because I mean, if they're gonna do that, if Netflix is gonna do stuff like that, maybe we might get a lot of more like comic book stuff that have not made it to like animation, all that. Maybe Netflix might take it and make it into an anime, and that would be very interesting, because that may be like more comic books can get made, and that's the most interesting thing about this. But like I said, there was no promotion for this, but if there was, I did not see it. There was nobody really talking about this. I just saw a random TikTok talking about it. It wasn't like a TikTok that blew up, it was like a random one. So I don't know, because you know, like I said, I compare this to Invincible a lot. I've been saying it throughout the video, but like the difference between this and Invincible is when Invincible dropped, everybody and their mama was talking about it on every streaming service. This Super Crooks, nobody was talking about it really. If they were, I saw like anything. I might have saw like a little bit, but I barely saw anything at all and all that. But yes, if you want to watch this, go check it out on Netflix. It's an okay watch. I'm not going to say like it's the best thing ever, but it was an okay watch. I enjoyed it for what it was and all that. If you have watched it, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, why not like? If you didn't, you can dislike, subscribe if you're new, or if you enjoyed and all that. And yeah, Super Crooks was okay. I literally binged this as soon as I heard about it. I was like, let me binge this and just watch this and see what it's about. And then it turned out to be alright. I enjoyed it for what it was, like I said. But yeah, I'm done talking about Super Crooks. Let's move on to something different in the future and all that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hey, I'll see you next video. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Super Crooks and all that. But okay, I'll see you later. Bye.